And they came across the Jordan River. And it says, Eglon, the king of Moab, got the Ammonites and the Amalekites to join him. Now in the Bible, you see all of these nations, and the words end in "ite." It's hard to tell them apart. There's all of these ites, the Amalekites, the Amalekites, all these ites. But these people were the sworn enemies of Israel. And so Eglon said, hey, I think it's time. Let's go and attack them. And so they attacked Israel. And it says they took possession of the city of palms. The city of palms is another word for Jericho. Anybody ever heard of a city called Jericho? For those of you who may not know, Jericho was a city that the Israelites had conquered. They marched around the walls of Jericho 7 times. And then they blew trumpets and gave a shout, and the walls actually came down. So it was a sight of a major victory. And things have gotten so bad for the Israelites that the sight of a major victory is the sight of a major defeat. Where they were victorious and strong, now they're being exploited and oppressed. And it says that he oppressed them. They were subject to Eglon, king of Moab, for 18 years. That is a long time. A long time to deal with the problem. 18 years. Anybody ever had to deal with something for a long time? Something that eats away at you at night. You wake up in tears. You don't know if it's going to end. You wish you could snap your fingers and it'll magically disappear. And you think it's gone. But then, after a while, it comes back. Full force. You're just like Israel. You cry out to God. God, please, I'm tired of dealing with this addiction. I'm tired of dealing with this family conflict. I'm tired of dealing with this situation on my job. You cry out. The Israelites, they cried out. It says he gave them a deliverer. Ehud. Now let's look at this deliverer. It says Ehud was a left-handed man. Now I want you to pay attention to this, because anytime you read the stories in the Old Testament and they describe someone, they give some description, it's for a reason. It's important because they usually didn't describe people. And anytime they describe somebody, they're trying to make a point. Turn to your neighbor and tell them, they're trying to make a point here. And so let's look at this description. Ehud is a left-handed man. In those days, left-handed meant weak. Left-handed people were seen as under a curse and evil. Left-handed people were seen as inferior and unclean. Weak, evil, inferior, and unclean. And in a lot of countries today, the left hand is seen as unclean because it's the bathroom hand. So you hand somebody something in another country with your left hand, usually around the area where the Bible, or we read about in the stories of the Bible, the Middle East, they will be offended and disrespected. And so left-handedness has this stigma. And how many people here are left-handed? Wow. 1, 2, wow. Left-handed people are in the minority. And I don't know about you, but when I was coming up in school, they tried to change me from being left-handed and make me right with my right hand. I don't know if they just didn't feel comfortable. I don't know what it was. Maybe they were trying to make life easier for me. Oh, we don't want them to use a left-handed baseball glove or left-handed scissors. But you see, even now, until just recently, this has had a stigma attached to it. Left-handedness. So Ehud was a left-handed man, but God is using his left hand. Ehud was not the obvious choice for a hero. And another reason why he wasn't the obvious choice as a hero was he was the son of Gera. Now you may be going, who is Gera? I don't care. It may not mean anything to you and your modern ears, but you have to remember back in these times, they would have written the story of Judges a little later than when the actual events took place. So the people reading this, it would have meant something to them. Son of Gera. There's another person in the Bible who is the son of Gera, and it's a guy named Shimei. And Shimei was one of these guys, and you can read it in 2 Samuel chapter 16. Shimei was a guy who actually, when David was chased out of his kingship, King David was chased out of Jerusalem, Shimei decided it's time to really just give it to him. And so he started throwing rocks at David and cursing him and insulting him. And Shimei was the son of Gera. And he was cursing David and insulting him because he was related to another famous king, King Saul. And King Saul, for the people who were reading this at this time, King Saul was like not the best choice as a king. And so the people reading this would say, a left-handed man from that family? Anybody in here been a part of that family? You know what I'm talking about. You ever had that dysfunctional uncle? You don't want to take him anywhere. That family. And so he wasn't of a family that had a good reputation. Not only was he left-handed, not only was he a son of Gera or from a family that didn't have a good reputation, but he was also a Benjamite. He was from a tribe who had a bad reputation. The Benjamites, if you read further in Judges, they were seen as inhospitable. They went to war with the other tribes. And I could kind of relate to this because after I kind of got older and started seeing the world, and people would ask me, where you from? And I say, Linwood. And then they go, where is that? And I'd have to give them a point of reference. So I had two choices. I could say LA. And they'd be like, whoa, LA, they're kind of crazy out there. California fruits and nuts. Or I could tell them Compton. And Compton is not known as good for anything. So I'd be hesitant like, should I go into this? Because I'm trying to get a job interview or I'm trying to give a good impression. And I'm so glad that God has freed me from that. And I just tell them, yeah, Linwood, it's right next to Compton. You know, Eazy-E, you know, gangsters, all that stuff.